Hey Reg, how you doing? Thanks very
Good.
much
How are
for
you?
very good. So wanted to say thanks for being here and thanks for accepting an interview here with myself, Odin, at the Real Estate Joint Venture Club. And I know you're super busy. We've been actually planning this for a little while, and I'm thrilled. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes for us to get to know you and
Sure.
to get to know what you're going to be doing. And there might be some people that don't know you yet, and I've been getting to know you. And so this is our way of bringing your success to our group, our membership. So the first question that I wanted to get into, Reg, and maybe you can maybe talk a little bit about who you are, and that'd be great. But I really wanted to know and get right into the nitty gritty is how did you get started in real estate? That's what I'm really interested in knowing.
First of all, I'd like to thank you for having me do the interview today. How did I get involved in real estate? Well, I've been a fairly heavy investor pretty much all my life. I used to be heavily involved in the financial markets, and I used to do significant amount of day trading, and I've been through all that through the markets. In fact, I used to be a licensed, I had a securities license. I worked for Investors Group, Canada Trust, Bank of Montreal. So I've been very heavily involved in the financial markets. And what really intrigued me about the about real estate is the steady growth that we can realize with minimal risk, and you don't have to have sleepless nights. I like the steady, consistent growth that real estate offers. The low risk, the steady growth, the leveraging that we can achieve with financing, bank financing, for example, where you put only a small amount of money down and then you leverage that money. So I like the slow, steady, consistent growth that you can only find in real estate, in my opinion.
So here, that's how come all of us in the group like real estate, by the way. It's
Yeah.
it's a great you can lever it or leverage it. I
Mhm.
wanted to know what are some of the lessons that you've learned along the way. What are some of the lessons that you've learned along the way? This
I
is
think
really important. So
yeah,
sorry.
I think there are many lessons, of course, that we all learn over time.
Yep.
One of the important lessons that I've learned over time is that you can start investing at any point. There's no real starting point where you have to have an X amount of money to get involved in real estate. You can always find ways to get involved in real estate. And I think if you put away a set amount of money every month, and you put that money to work for you um, by investing, um, there's always a way to invest money.
So you're using the rule of 72 then.
Yeah, pretty much, pretty
Yeah.
much.
And
Yeah.
so, I mean, a lot of the people don't know how we kind of reached out, but I know that you actually work for a pretty awesome real estate group, and I'm going to let you spill the beans on who it is. Okay, I'm not going to
Okay.
spill the beans on that one.
Okay.
And
So basically back in 1989, prior to 1989, we were involved in real estate, buying apartment buildings, investing, for our own account. And we got our start investing in real estate back to the early 1980s. And in 1989, we decided that we're going to form a company called the Yorkton Group. Okay. And the objective of Yorkton Group was um, to allow investors to participate in our many projects that we had going at the time.
mhm.
Okay? So we wanted at the time to bring investing uh, to the general population. Okay, as I mentioned at the beginning of our interview, my own background comes from the Bank of Montreal, Canada Trust, Investors Group, and the financial markets.
Mm-hmm.
And we wanted to create a vehicle where the small investor, okay, can come in and he has a place to put the money where it's secure, professionally managed, and hassle-free.
So with all of this now, what were some of the lessons you learned along the way? Now that everyone has a bigger view of what it is, why we're having this interview. And by the way, I've looked at some of your past deals and I'm pretty impressed. But what are some of the lessons you learned along the way?
I think the lessons are many. To always take a conservative approach to investing. That way, you have your money for another day. You position the money for growth. Okay, but do it so securely, right? And always get professional advice when you need to get professional advice.
That's one
so
of the
we at Yorkton Group, we always work with the best consultant, with the best professionals, right? Like we use major corporations. For example, we work with Ernst & Young is our corporate accounting firm. We use, Wensley Architecture in Vancouver. It's a major architecture firm for our construction projects. So we work with the top consultants across Canada, okay? And the Yorkton Group, we currently have a number of different projects going, okay? And we recently set up a public company, which is now trading on the TSX, called the Yorkton Equity Group, okay?
Very cool.
And the objective of the Yorkton Equity Group is to buy existing apartment buildings, okay, and put that into the portfolio, and to grow the Yorkton Equity Group on a risk-averse model, okay? So the Yorkton Equity Group will not be doing construction, would not be doing condo conversions, would not be doing, development, major development. It'll be solely focused on buying existing apartment buildings. And I said at the beginning of the interview, our history goes back all the way to the 1980s. Okay? And so the beauty of setting up a public company whose sole mission is to buy existing apartment buildings is that you have growth with very little, if any, risk, okay? And the reason is that when you buy an existing apartment building, the cash flows are already known. The expenses are predictable, okay? And over time, your tenants are paying down your mortgage, okay? So our model is to buy existing apartment buildings in the Yorkton Equity Group, upgrade the building into a new standard. So it could be like a 30-year-old building, but we will make it look like a much newer building. We will put in new management. We will fill it up with good quality tenants. We will put security systems in. We will upgrade the boilers, upgrade the mechanical systems, make sure it's a well-functioning building, okay? And we will increase rents as well, because for a well-managed building, a building that is operating at a higher standards, tenants are willing to pay a little bit more money, okay? And as I said, the beauty of these apartment building portfolio is, say you have a portfolio of, say, 100 buildings. Even if you do not do anything else, you just sit with that portfolio of 100 buildings. When the tenants pay down your mortgage, the value of each of those buildings will increase exponentially over time. Okay.
And you've actually seen that happen because you've been in business since the 80s and buying apartment buildings. And so
yeah, we bought our first building back in the early 80s. So, we have a lot of experience in identifying, managing, upgrading, and adding value to tenants. Okay. The relationship between the landlord and tenant is very critical. If you treat your tenants well, they will come back to you and they will stay with you long term. Okay? And that's, you were asking about the lessons, and I was, kind of thinking, pretty hard to, think of some of the lessons we've learned. Well, one of the important lessons that we've learned is treat your tenants very well, because they will come back to you and they'll keep renting from you, and they will rent for a longer period with you. In fact, if they're moving to a different location, quite often they will come and ask you, do you have a building in X location? Because I'm happy with where I'm renting currently. Okay. So one of the big lessons is to treat your customers. And
so I'm going to kind of move it on here. I want to know a bit about you. What have you been doing, Reg, for the last couple of years?
I have been personally very, very busy growing the Yorkton group of companies to bring it to where it is now, a diversified group of real estate companies
Mhm.
involved in all aspects of real estate, from construction to development to condo conversions to land development, redevelopment, commercial leasing, hotel operations, and now a public company. So,
It's very exciting. And
I have my hands full, but I enjoy what I do because we're creating value for investors
yeah.
and stakeholders.
Hmm.
And I'm a people person. I enjoy getting out there and talking to people,
Hmm.
and telling our story, hoping to add value to other people's lives. And it's been a quite rewarding experience over the past 30 plus years now.
Yeah, I can see that you're absolutely dedicated and passionate. And it doesn't seem to me that what you're doing is work. It seems to me that what you're doing is like a hobby that just happens to be work. Is that how you
Yeah,
feel
I
about
think
it?
that pretty much sums it up. I look at work as basically what I do. So I really can't see myself ever retiring.
Hmm.
Okay. And, like for example, in the Yorkton Equity Group, the public company that we just set up, not just set up, it's been trading now since just a couple of months now. It's doubled our private placement price to the current trading price is close to double our investors that came in on our private placement. So they've done very well, and our target is to grow the stock price exponentially over the coming years. Okay,
Very cool. So
and
that's where you're heading towards now, right? So
yeah,
I wanted to kind of know where you're heading. And it seems to me that there's a parallel heading here between Yorkton Group and Reg. So Reg,
yeah,
I mean, I want to invest in someone like you, Reg,
mhm,
someone who literally breathes it,
mhm.
who drinks it, and who is heading towards an avenue. You have a great vision, but
Mhm.
is there another place that you're heading? Where is Reg heading, out of curiosity?
I think where we're heading is like right now we're trading on the Yorkton Equity Group. We're trading on the Toronto Stock Exchange Venture. We're
Mhm.
heading to the main board probably within 6 months.
Wow, that's
And we're very
exciting.
dedicated. As you mentioned, I'm very dedicated. In fact, in the Yorkton Equity Group, the public company trading on the TSX, none of the senior managers are taking a salary. Okay, so none of the senior management is drawing any salary on the Yorkton Equity Group. Okay,
Wow.
so because we're determined to grow the share price, and we feel that we don't need to draw any funds out of the company.
Well,
So we're
that's
not.
great.
So none of the senior managers are getting paid to run the Yorkton Equity Group. Not right now. We want to get the stock price up to a high level, and then maybe later on we can look at being compensated from with a salary. But at the moment, none of us are getting drawing a salary.
So how does running a business like this affect and impact your friend and family life?
Um, I think my wife has already got used to it many years ago. It just goes with the territory, right?
True. Yes.
Um, you know, it, I'm. I think we're. I think the wife is resigned to that fact. But we do spend a lot of family time together. In the fact that I have a home office, so I spend a lot of time at home.
Hmm.
I have two young kids, one 4 years old, the other 13 years old.
Nice.
So we do, I try to set aside maybe Sundays, for family time,
Yeah.
but it's challenging even Sundays, sometimes I'm hit with work to do. So,
I hear you.
but I do spend, as I said, I do have a home office, so I do spend quite a bit of time at home with the family as well, even while I'm working.
So do you have a favorite project that you've worked on?
I think our favorite project right now is the Yorkton Equity Group. Setting up the public company was a quite a long process.
Hmm.
In order to get listed on the TSX, we have to go through a fairly extensive qualifying process.
Yeah.
And so even though Yorkton Equity Group is not one project, it's just going to be multiple buildings,
Hmm.
apartment buildings. I consider it an endeavor that a direction that we headed down. And I would call it my project to bring the Yorkton Equity Group into a public company. I
That's
should say our project, our management team's project is what I should say. Yeah.
yeah. So you're going to have an.
So that's my favorite project. Yeah.
So if you could start all over again, what would you do differently?
I think I would start in real estate sooner.
That is the answer.
Yes, yes. I would have moved away from the investing in technology stocks, investing in various software that I've invested in the past, which can be quite risky. And I would move to I would like to have moved into real estate sooner.
And so, how did your current team get formed? Because I know the project you're working on right now is the equity group, and but how did that team come together? I mean, it's a pretty impressive team. I've actually seen the roster. How did you put that team together?
Well, we want to make sure that we have qualified people on our board of directors as well as the senior management. One of the advantage of the Yorkton Equity Group, the public company, is that even though it's a relatively new company, the management team from the Yorkton Group, myself, Ben Louis, and the other senior managers from the Yorkton Group are now helping run the Yorkton Equity Group. So we bring that 30 years plus of management experience to the Yorkton Equity Group.
Transferable skills and transferable team.
Exactly.
You're saying.
And further, we supplemented that with a fairly fairly capable board of directors, led by our chairman, Bill Smith, who was a 3-time mayor of Edmonton. And he's been quite involved in the public markets with public companies. So we have a very strong board of directors, as well as a strong management team coming from the Yorkton Group itself.
I want to go back just a second. I'd like for you to tell us a little bit more on the story side of how the team came together, because that's really intriguing.
What we did was we looked at the Yorkton Group, of companies, and we have senior management there, and over the past 30 plus years, we've been adding qualified people to our team. And when you've been in business that length of time, and in fact being in business even long before 1989 when we formed the Yorkton Group to the early 80s, you get to know who's capable, what to look for, how to find the talent, how to keep the talent, etc. And again, it comes back to what I was talking about earlier. You treat if you're a landlord, you treat your tenants well. If you have a customer, you treat your customer well. If you have employees, you treat your employees well. And over time, you amass a group of people that you feel are capable of growing the company. And when we formed the Yorkton Equity Group, once again, we looked at our team and we looked to add to the team to enhance the capability of the team that we had from the Yorkton Group.
Make it even better.
Yeah, exactly.
Very nice. So we find out what your objectives were, and we kind of know what your strategy is, and we kind of know what your business model is. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to kind of start wrapping it up a little bit. Sure. And say I'm looking forward to seeing the growth of the Yorkton Equity Group. That's going to be very cool. And I'm going to be able to say on this time at this day, look, he said it. He's going to get it, bring it to $10, and we know what the number is today. But think of one of your mentors' wisest words that you remember, and can you share maybe their saying with us, or as parting, can you share a quote with them, or if you have a couple words of wisdom that you can give us, part to us, and then of course that's your opportunity to promote anything that you'd like to promote as well.
Yeah, I think there's no magic in business. It's all hard work and dedication. Just like anything else, you will get out what you put into it. If you're focused on your customer, you do well to your customer, you work hard, you look after your tenants, good things are going to happen. right?
Perfect.
And if you're a dedicated, hardworking person, intelligent, make wise decisions, inevitably you're going to grow over time. It's
Very
inevitable.
cool. I like that very much. And so now, Reg, this is your opportunity to promote whatever you want to promote. Or what we can do is when we send this out to our when we're giving this, we can just put a message in there as well to the email for what next events you're having and where they can find out more information about what you're doing.
Sure. So the the Yorkton Equity Group is our focus going forward.
Yes.
As I've talked about. Right now, prospective investors have a ground floor opportunity to participate in a company stock that is fully asset backed.
Mm-hmm.
Our focus is on buying existing apartment buildings. So we're growing a portfolio of solid assets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it's a risk averse model because Yorkton Equity Group does not do construction, does not do development. Yorkton Group may undertake those construction and development, but not the Yorkton Equity Group. Yorkton Equity Group is laser focused on the accretive growth of apartment buildings. Okay. And we see currently a tremendous opportunity with the pandemic. Okay. We have historically low interest rates. Okay. We may never see this, interest rates like this in our lifetime. When we go to buy an apartment building today, our interest rate that we have to pay is about 1.5%. Okay. I cannot recall a time, in the past number of years, where it's been that low, and we may never see this again. So I would say we probably have about a 3 to 4 year window of opportunity to grow the Yorkton Equity Group, to take advantage of the low interest rates, to buy apartment buildings and grow the portfolio. And the Yorkton Equity Group has the financial backing of the Yorkton Equity Group, which is a very, very well established, well capitalized company.
Mm-hmm.
So again, you may see the stock trading, say 30 to 40 cents, somewhere in that range, and think of that as a tremendous bargain. Okay, because you're getting the solid backing of the Yorkton Group behind the Yorkton Equity Group. It's Yorkton Equity Group is a risk-averse model focused on the acquisition of existing apartment buildings, so solid assets. And the current pandemic has opened up tremendous opportunities in terms of interest rate, in terms of apartment buildings that are now lower priced than they were in the past. For example, we can go out and buy apartment buildings where the building may be mismanaged, or could be because of the pandemic, renters are not able to pay their rent on time.
Yeah.
And as a result, there's many owners willing to sell apartment buildings at a lower price than they were prior to the pandemic. And Yorkton Group, with the experience that we have going back to the 1980s, it's no problem for us to take over a mismanaged building, or a building that may not be, operating to its optimal capacity. Mm-hmm. And we have no problem turning that around because we've done this since the 1980s.
Very cool. Very awesome. Reg, I know that you have a preview coming up very quick. So what you're going to do is, if you can get me all the information on that preview, we'll share that with all of our members. And I wanted to say, sure. Awesome. You gave us some really awesome nuggets there. And for those of people that were listening, I'm sure you got those. I want to say thank you so very much for being here and having this interview with us. And I want to have more. I want to have another one in about a year from now, just to see where you're at. I think it'd be really cool for a follow-up.
Yeah, as I said, our goal is $10 that's our 5-year goal.
Yep.
And we intend to get there.
Very cool.
We will be having some opportunities coming up in the near future.
Okay.
So please stay tuned. I cannot divulge at this point what opportunities will be coming, but we'll be having some opportunities coming up.
No, I'll share those with the group, and you guys just say Odin sent me, and then Reg will take great care of you.
All right. So thanks for having me today, and
Thank
I
you.
enjoyed our little chat here.
I did too. I did very much. All right. Thanks so much, Reg.
Okay. Take care.